Hello everybody and welcome back to Grand Bazaar. I am back at the end of summer. I did a little bit of time traveling for our last video, but I figured it was worth returning to this point because there's a few little things to kind of go over before we change seasons. So I'm actually going to skip ahead and go to our very last day of summer. And when we wake up in the morning, we're gonna have a little cutscene here. And Amir, of all people, is coming to visit. I'm going back to my country for a while. It's my father's birthday. I don't want to go. But I don't want to disrespect my father. Anyway, I'll be gone for a bit, but I'll be back by winter. See you then. So yes, Amir is the only villager in this game who will move out at some point. But don't panic too much because, as he said, he will be back in the winter time. He only disappears for one season. But that is kind of bad news if you're interested in marrying Amir. So if you're playing as a female farmer and you want to marry him, you'll want to make sure that you do that within 3 seasons. We unlock him at the beginning of winter in our first year, and he'll leave temporarily just at the end of summer. It's not like you can't marry him when he comes back, but that is just putting off things for a whole other month. I didn't even really try all that hard to befriend Amir, and I managed to get him to 4 hearts. There are actually a fair amount of pretty good gifts that you can get for him. He likes moondrop flowers. If all else fails, you can buy him chocolate at the bazaar and gift wrap them. And you could also buy stew for him, which is his favorite meal, during the spring season. It'll show up at Nellie's stand, I believe. So you've got lots of options to befriend him, and then if you're playing as a female farmer, you'll also get more friendship by watching his events and gaining big points that way if you answer correctly. So I just figured I would show that cutscene off as a fair warning. Obviously, if you're married to Amir, he won't leave. He'll stay all year round. But playing as a male farmer, he will disappear. And we'll just have to wait and see him in the wintertime. And I have actually made a little bit of progress in this day on another file. And my farm is going to look a little bit different, obviously, with this save that I'm on right now. I haven't really played properly, so to speak. I've kind of jumped around and I haven't watered things. So why don't we jump ahead and I will load up my actual progress at this point and we can see how the farm is gonna kind of end up looking at the very end of summer here. So it's noon and I've just had a little bit of a chance to rest in my house and regain a little bit of stamina. All of my tomatoes came in yesterday, I believe, and I've been able to completely clear out the field at this point now, which is great. I have a little bit of work ahead of me. Half of my corn came in before I decided to get rid of it because I knew there wasn't going to be any time for another harvest. And then the rest of my corn has come in today. So it's always great to see that I have crops coming in right up until the last possible moment. Unfortunately for me, I made a big mistake when I planted those pumpkins. I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but I planted them a little bit too late. So unfortunately for me, these 6 pumpkin seeds went to waste, which is a little bit of a costly error, but I saved some of my other pumpkins from my other successful harvest, and I will just go ahead and replace these, and I'll make higher quality seeds than the ones that I had purchased at the bazaar. And then the rest of this field I kind of just have to demolish at this point. I'm not going to be getting any more pineapples, obviously, but it was good while it lasted. We had a good run, and I did manage to get more of those. I managed to get 30 more pineapples, so we're gonna have more of those to sell at the next bazaar. I still have lots of tomatoes. I've got 60 of them. I have 56 pieces of corn, not counting all the stuff that I'm gonna have to harvest. And I've been turning a lot of my corn into seeds, so it was nice to have tomatoes and corn growing all summer. I managed to make it go a long way and get a lot out of it. And if I save some seeds, I've saved some tomato seeds, I've got some pineapple seeds here and some corn. If I'm still playing by this time next year, I don't have to wait a week for the bazaar to roll around. I could just get started on planting these things earlier, or I can save these and plant them in the basement. I've got lots of summer seeds here, different qualities, a bunch of different things available if I do want to keep those to plant. I kind of have to sort through my radish seeds. I kept processing these into seeds so that I can increase their level very, very quickly, but I really don't need 5 different bags of radish seeds taking up inventory space, so I do have to do a little bit of sorting here, obviously. But I think overall I'm very, very happy with all of the decisions that I made in terms of planting. I know that the tomatoes overall were not all that profitable. That was probably the least profitable decision that I made. However, I was flush with tomatoes all season. I was able to turn those around very quickly and make salads. And I like the variety. I like just having a lot of different options, personally. So I'm going to harvest all of this. I'm going to clean up my field and get it prepared for fall. And because this video was a little bit shorter than I thought, we actually probably have some time to just have a look at fall while we're at it. So why don't we do that? And there's nothing quite like a beautiful rainy day to tell us that fall has now arrived. So our very first day, we're not going to be able to get too much done, unfortunately. The rain might have actually been kind of a good thing if I had been planting a lot of stuff. I would have been able to till the land, plant everything, put fertilizer on, and not have to worry about the watering, even though that would make my plants kind of grow a little bit slower. It probably still would have been something I would have taken advantage of, but unfortunately we do not have access to any crops that are going to be sold at the bazaar. If we look at our calendar, we only have to wait about 3 days to be able to gain access to all of the different kinds of crops that we're going to be able to grow in this season. So, not too bad in terms of having to wait to really kind of get started truly in this season. And what's also nice is that it's a Thursday. So Raoul's is open. Sometimes the first day lands on a Friday and there's really nothing that you can do at all. I also apparently did not take care of these old pumpkin plants, so that's my mistake. I'll do that now. You can see that our tea shrub has also changed over, and we'll now get ourselves some fall tea leaves. So I gotta remember to fertilize that, even though I'm not gonna be able to really use this field. And there are just so many different options for crops in the fall. I don't even really know if I'm gonna have the space to put everything that I want once we kind of get access to everything. However, today, if we want to, we can get started by planting some eggplants. And we're going to be starting at half a star quality, unfortunately. 8 to 10 days to actually come in, and they will regrow every 4 days for us. And my plan is to have about a half a field's worth of these guys. And I will split the other half of the field with yams once I get access to those. Because from what I remember, eggplants don't fetch a huge amount of money for us. I know that we can cook them, similar to how we can do with yams, and that will kind of increase the value a little bit for us. But these are probably similar to tomatoes, where they're perhaps not the best option in terms of bringing home big fat stacks of money. However, I do love me some variety, and I like the idea of this field having two different types of replenishing crops. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Whoops. I'm gonna have to fix that. That's gonna drive me crazy. There we go. I guess I have to go and buy one seed because I screwed up. Which is okay, I can afford it. But if you buy 27 seeds, that is exactly half of one of your fields. So I will wait and I'll use the other half for yams. But for today, I can go ahead and fertilize these and get those started. I also have to decide ultimately what I want to do with my basement. The only thing I have is a lone strip of cucumbers here. I've kind of cleared out the basement, and my plan was to stick some trees on one side, maybe grow my wheat on the other side, and then leave a little bit of room in the middle for some actual crops. And by doing that, it won't really matter what seasonal sun that I have in here. Wheat, it doesn't matter. It can be any season for those to grow, and the same is true for trees because they just grow all year round and only flower and give you fruit in one particular season. So I would only really need to change what season it is depending on whatever crops it was that I decided to grow in the middle. So I'm going to set that up and kind of figure out how that works, but I think that that's gonna kind of be my plan. And because it's raining today, it's a little bit of a bummer because I can't even get a head start on collecting flowers and all of the nice items that they give you to forage in the fall season. I don't even have to catch frogs anymore. I used to take advantage of the rain by collecting frogs, but I'm engaged to be wed, and I did that mostly for Antoinette. It doesn't mean that I can't go around the town. I can still collect weeds and branches and stones and whatnot. But pretty uneventful start to the month. But I only have to play a few days before our first bazaar. And if you look at this calendar, you'll also notice that the cooking festival falls on a Thursday and a Friday this year. And that means that it's not going to screw us out of our bazaar for that week and completely have us skip it. So we get our full schedule worth of bazaars in this season, which is great. And we can look forward to a few festivals. We've got quite a few birthdays this month as well. And our wedding anniversary is on the 5th. So I think between the bazaars, the festivals, and once again having a pretty busy time on the farm with all of our crops, I think fall will probably be a really fun and successful month. I think it was probably our most successful month last year. It's definitely my favorite month, so I'm kind of looking forward to diving into it. And I will most likely be back on the 4th so that we can go to our very first bazaar and truly get things started at that point when we get access to some more seeds. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.